Sports Formants. This is the New South Wales Grand Finals. I'm Quiddy here with my buddy Mendrix. Before we do anything, I do want to say thank you to Torrens University, Optus, and MSI. So if you're into gaming and if you're into esports as well, don't forget to check out some game design, game programming courses. They also have 3D design and animation, also graphic and communication as well. Also, for a PAX VIP experience competition, our sponsor, Billy Blue College of Design here at Torrens University, has also got a great competition going on. So you could win a PAX VIP experience for 2 and an online session with a professional League of Legends player or streamer from the Legacy Esports team. So all you have to do is fill out their online entry form. The link can be found in the Twitch chat. Now that that's out of the way, today's match is 100 years from the Kings School up against here from Kingsgrove North, the Panda Republic. And oh boy, Mendrix, we're excited for this series.
Oh, I am absolutely raring to go to watch these guys play. In particular, I really do want to see what the Panda Republic can do up against 100 years. I really do like to see that there is a few places there, especially in that mid lane, which I think is going to be extremely explosive. And I think that's how it has been a bit of a meta throughout the entire competition as well. Typically, the performance of the mid lane does tend to dictate the pace of the game. Also, the jungle is coming in as well. We do also see a little bit of a bit of extra control coming from those bot lanes as well, but I don't think that's going to be the case coming forward in these games. It's relatively even looking bot lanes coming into the competition.
Yeah, do want to mention also that Panda Republic, they also have a sub in, so they're actually not going with their main roster for the series, Mendrix. So how do you think that's going to affect them? And do you think they have been, doing any homework with this potential sub?
I hope they have. You definitely do want to throw in a few games with your substitute because having that different player means the entire synergy is mixed up. Different champions need to be taken into consideration. Different compositions will probably have better chances. And that's purely because the styles of players do change. Everyone thinks, this person's an enchanter, right, or this person is a tank support. That sort of scenario. No, actually, the way those people play those specific metas or those specific genres of tank or support do affect how the game plays out. Maybe they're more aggressive. Maybe they're more laid back. Maybe they like to roam around the map more. So many different things change from this, and the team has to adjust to that.
Of course, especially having something like an emergency sub in the finals is an extremely high-pressure environment as well. So these players, they really got to pull this one together as a Champ Select just going to be started. We're going to have the Kings starting off this series on that blue side up against, of course, Kingsgrove with their Panda Republic on the red. And straight away, we see a lot of bans from the Kings targeting their junglers.
Yeah, looking at that there, you can see they really do want to deal with the Panda specifically in the jungle there. Part of the reason for that is obviously the ability of the jungler to move around the map, really sit down in one specific lane, and then open up a path to victory. Everything about League of Legends is about bridging gaps, and if you can find a way to do that via a specific player, you're in a really good spot as a team because you understand who's going to be your playmaker, who's going to be the role players running around, and then from there, who you're actually going to move to your different objectives. And of course, the jungler historically has been one of the strongest players or one of the strongest team, one of the strongest roles that have been able to dictate paces of the game.
You see right there, 3 junglemen straight up. And like you said, they're all champions that are very good at moving around, of course. So with the Kane band coming out also from Panda Republic. And first pick, Lulu. Now, she is, because of the hyper carry kind of nature of AD carries in this current meta, we do see the Lulu being prioritized here.
Yeah, and I do like the Lulu pick first, not just because, hey, it's a strong pick that you can have and will definitely support your ADC across the board. You can flex that into a number of roles. That can be put into support, mid, and top. So really, when I look at this here, not too much is being given away here by 100 years.
Yeah, also what's interesting that Kingsgrove, the Panda Republic just did right now is that they picked Lee Sin in their first rotation. But the thing is, Xin Zhao is unbanned. He is off the table. Is it really worth to pick a champion like Lee Sin when you do have arguably a stronger and more reliable champion like a Xin Zhao?
One of the things you have to take into account is player comfortability. Looking at this here, and Panda in the jungle specifically, I mean, they're all pandas, so we have to really take that into account. So Panda Jungler, I'm just going to call him from now on, is definitely looking for a little bit of player comfortability. You've already had 3, or actually when you take into account possibly 5 bans in the jungle, that pool is starting to shrink. You may not be too comfortable on the Lee Sin, especially with nerfs to Stride Breaker coming into it, that has hit the champion. So even though that reliability has been edged out a bit, you can do a lot more with the Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is beginning to push back in popularity in that jungle role.
Yeah, speaking of jungles, they're going to have to lock in their jungle right now, because if they don't, possibly more jungle bans are going to come through to choke that, pull out even more. And due to the Jinx as well, you know, it's kind of as we expected, right? AD carry, you want that hyper carry. The Lulu first pick is already a foreshadowing of that. And then that Aphelios, that is something I did not see coming.
Yeah, Aphelios as a particular champion that's moved out of favor recently. So again, we have to take into account that perhaps with the swap out of Wolfie coming into play, that Panda does need to, or Panda ADC in this scenario, needs to take into account a different champion pool as well. Aphelios has the ability to be pretty damn annoying in lane. The fact that he can bully out, and Jinx is really decent in the sense of being able to do that, but does need to use up a lot of mana to become the bully, and Aphelios doesn't have to worry about that constraint. So really looking at Glacial Augment here to really keep Fear safe. The flip side of things, Panda ADC can actually look to be a little bit more aggressive with these players, because Aphelios does have that ability to be very versatile, especially when that sniper comes online.
Yeah, to go aggressive, though, they will have to be very careful of a jungler in the form of a Nunu, which, like you said, movement very prioritized, very big factor in this current meta. And Nunu, when you do have that move speed, and also on top of the fact that you're able to just clear things like the Scuttle Crab just instantly, able to just run wild through the jungle. So definitely if they're going to push up with that Aphelios, going to have to watch out for that one. And, like you said earlier as well, a mid lane, something you're looking out for. And straight away, we see the mid lane bans coming through. The Sylas gone, Yone gone, both very strong champions. LeBlanc early game gone. And the safety of the Malzahar also gone off the table. And it looks like Kingsgrove, Panda Republic here, gonna go with that Diana.
You're definitely getting pinched in a squeeze for both these mid laners at the moment. Do like the hover here as well of the Karma. You do have, again, that hyper carry and Jinx. If you put Karma into a utility mid lane or top lane, or vice versa for the Lulu, this means that you are putting a lot of your eggs in one basket and keeping Fear alive. So you can see they really are beginning to lean a little bit on their ADC here, the 100 years, and keep that in line. Another thing to take into account here as well, and it's something that I really want to touch on, is how good that Nunu is actually limiting the movement of Lee Sin. Like you said, the ability to move straight towards those Scuttle Crabs, you completely ignore their jungle, and then look for back-to-back games, can really set off kilter, and that's something that's going to give an excellent amount of control for 100 years as this moves into that 50-minute mark of the game.
Yeah, now as Kings have finally locked in their team comp for this first game, I'm actually a little bit worried now, because if you look at their side, their early game is significantly lacking. And when you are going against champions like Set, like a Lee Sin, Fresh, also Diana, these are champions that can absolutely take over the mid game and just snowball out of control. And when you're in this current meta too, which heavily favors that kind of playstyle, you got to be pretty worried for them.
I think a lot of it needs to be them just leaning back on the fact that you can play this roughly a little bit safer. That's one of the things you can take into account here, the ability to just chill out, sit back, not go too crazy. I think now looking at everything here, they probably actually haven't played into their specific settings here. So as you can see, they're not actually going to be in position. We've got Bob Sagas is going to be the support. Jinx is going, Norca is going to be the ADC. And we're going to have a little bit of a flip around here for 100 years. Just playing with my eyes and my own little sort of OCD tendencies in terms of things here, but that's completely fine. But I do like that idea that you take into account. Yes, they have a very late game century focused game, especially a lot of that probably being put onto Norca here. Norca needs to be safe the entire way through, and you have a number of ways to do that. Looking at the Kayle, looking at the Karma, looking at the Lulu. It's going to be all on Fear to be moving around the map and limiting this early game pressure that comes into it, and it will become difficult purely because, like you said, there's a little bit of an advantage across the board in all the lane priorities here for the teams. This means that should allow Saint to do a little bit more when running around. It could be actually a mid lane Lee Sin here as well. Diana could be in the jungle, and that could actually slow things down a little bit in terms of what Panda Republic will be what they'll be able to do in terms of pushing out that pressure in the lane or in the game. Because I would prefer to have Lee sit here. That will give you so many more options when it comes to ganking the lanes. And of course, Dan is a little bit slower in that being said. So we have to really wait to see where these players are actually going to sit out, because of course, I think there is a little bit of change here. Some players are in position for their roles, some aren't. I'm probably expecting Saint to actually be playing in that mid lane with Lee Sin.
And we'll see who plays where in this first game of tonight's match. Right after this short break, we are going to see which one of these teams will take the lead in these series. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, guys, to game number 1 of today's New South Wales High School Grand Finals. On the blue side, we have 100 Years from the King's School up against Panda Republic from Kingsgrove North High. And straight away, we're seeing some invades coming in over the top side jungle. Now, what's interesting is that a great name, known Assassins player, opted for the utility Karma this game.
And this was interesting in that sense, because now we do get to see a little bit of a different versatility from a great name. I mean, Zed has really been the name of the game for a great name in most cases. And the actual opportunity to move into this Karma, I mean, you can tell, see a number of Assassins were also pinched away. And also, when I look at it, the fact that we had the Diana pick as well, Lee Sin, pretty damn effective at some of those other options that were available for a great name. So to have that presence of mind to realize, you know what? Let's shift it back a bit. We can lean on Norca. Norca has been characteristically one of the best Jinx players in the competition so far. We saw both Norca and Bo3 have some great success in the semifinals. I reckon that it's probably a great idea for them to continue leaning on their strengths going forward and actually pick that up.
Yeah, actually what's interesting now is that they're actually moving the Kale to the mid lane up against this Lee Sin. And as a champion, that is pretty much not even a champion this early on in the game. Up against a champion like Lee Sin that has double the amount of abilities of everybody else. Is that really the right move? You are conceding a lot of, not only are you conceding mid prior, that also gives a lot of room for the Diana to work with.
Yeah, I don't really like actually having Lee Sin go up against Kale in the specific sense. The reason for that is because there's a number of gap closing options available for Lee Sin, and Lee Sin also has the ability to wave clear and push out as well, whereas Set, even though he also has the same options, if you do position appropriately, the Kale can avoid most of them happening. Also, as you can see, that Sonic Wave with that ranged attack is an excellent gap close for Kale. Lee Sin can basically immediately be put straight on top of it, and of course it makes it so easy if the Panda jungler decides to rock up, or Diana in this case, to really synergize with Saint and force some easy, quick kills, because we know how immobile this Kale can be in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, Saints are definitely looking well in control of the mid lane, this time being comfortably shoving in that wave. It is a new jungle though, so with these lanes taking their lane pride, they have to take consideration of that and start playing with their vision and their wards accordingly. Now, both junglers going to have started off the top side of the map, going to end up popping down the bot side. Pings come down. Saint looking for a nice little poke in and out under the turret. And now what's interesting is a nice invade by Panda here, using that mid lane prize straight away.
You really like the move here from Panda Jungle. Does realize that, hey, we haven't seen the new one on the map, hasn't gone for any cheeky invades. That means he's playing standard. Fear's going to be running around in his own jungle. Always likes to go particularly for that blue buff first, just to increase his cooldown reductions, allows him for a few extra feats to continue to move around. And with that extra ability control that was actually granted from Saint, allowing that extra little pressure in the early game, does mean that he's able to put those invades and force it out. Of course, nothing eventuated from it, but Panda is up in terms of that wave clear at the moment, and that jungle camp.
Yeah, Panda Republic here looking for something onto this mid lane. Pings are going down. They kind of want this one. Sonic Wave does connect, but you know, Glacial Augment very comfortable under his tower. Not going to go for anything crazy there. Some of the spells still up and available. Pings coming down. They do realize that the Nunu has taken the top side. I saw a trade in the bot lane as the slows coming through. A flash with the Flave on Norca. Hook misses. Death Sentence not finding what it wants. Wolfie though still not quite done. Ignite does land on him. Heal a bit too late. Gonna get mitigated by that Ignite. First blood going towards Bob. Actually, Norca flashing away from that TP. Panda on the Aphelios looking for the Graviton slow. Ward jump. Sonic Wave does it, but hey, Flash Tempest gonna try and finish it up. He is on the tower though, and Fear picks up a kill there as a little cleanup. And this Lee Sin on Saint on this Lee Sin does slide the turret, and meanwhile in this top lane, Panda Republic looking for kill on the great name here. But gonna burn that flash to escape that one.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, with action across the map from both of these teams here, it is going to be 100 years coming out on top. And when I look at everything there, it all stems down from that bot lane. We said at the start of the game that Norca and Bo3 really do know how to play this particular composition in the bot lane. They're amazing on the Jinx and the Lulu, and they were able to pull out that solo kill between the two of them in that sense. Never mind that, Saint's trying to force something on the Glacial Augment, they might find it.
Luna Rush going in. Here's the second one. Doesn't have a second dash. Saint's already used the Sonic Wave. So, you know, Glacial Augment still having flash. Not going to lose anything at all on that a little kerfuffle. But I feel like, Norca and Bob definitely played that one very well. Having to use the Glitter Lance on Lulu for the slows and forcing Wolfie there to commit, because they know that if they're going to keep running away, they're just going to keep getting slowed and keep getting poked down and eventually getting ran down by these Jenks rockets. So forcing him to go in as Wolfie kind of base checks this one. Zap with the slow. Trump is behind him. He is trapped. Blades goes through with the flamethrowers from Panda, though. The AoE from this Aphelios paying dividends here. Is going to chase down with the Gravitum. However, Fear is here with the Snowball. It's a nice little knock up, not too much damage. That's going to be enough to save a Bob there. And Norca going down there, not the end of the world, but a bit of a set delay in that one.
Yeah, considering they had the jump on that initial play, you can tell that's exactly the fight that they wanted to take there. For it to be a 1-for-1 trade for the Panda Republic was definitely a success in their eyes. And the reason for that, of course, is the fact that they're the ones that set this up. They could have actually pushed that, cheated a bit more tempo, looked to get control of this Dragon Pit. There were so many different options they could have picked up there, but they were trying to snowball their lead that little bit further and ended up being nipped in the bud. And that is because when you look at it, Panda, in terms of the ADC Panda here, has been actually farming up an absolute storm. Look at that CS lead, 48 to 22.
Double.
In the end, because of this Aphelios having the ability to bully out Norca and Bob Sagas, and you can tell they have the ability to commit and look for fights, yes. But at the end of the day, that Aphelios is still going to be a bit more superior, and that means that they are going to be able to find opportunities to get extra wins. Another thing to take into account here as well is before in that initial engage, Saint came down with that TP. This has bought time for Glacial Augment to really get herself back into this game. And look, they're looking for another kill on this Wolfie if possible. But it's impossible.
Yeah, Wolfie, maybe a bit of a mess up on the pathing. They're getting caught out a little bit with the slows. Gonna get polymorphed as well. And looks like this Diana gonna go in with that Moonfall, Divine Judgment with the invulnerability, gonna try and live under this turret. Saint taking some tower shots here, very low. It doesn't quite get the kill, but it does make it out alive, burns the flash off the KO and the ultimate too.
Yeah, it's just a game of attrition. You want to be able to get rid of those resources and come back for a return gank. That means that you do, Panda will have an option in the next minute or so to make something happen. But I do want to go back to the spot lane. You can see Norca and Bob Sagas wanted to engage onto Wolfie, but Panda now, with how much strength that he's managed to accumulate, or Panda ADC, was able to actually completely nullify that attack the moment they walked in, just by immediately blocking one ability and hitting the AoE on it. And then I completely just decided to stop any form of aggression coming from Norca and Bob Sagas. And that's really bad for this bot lane here of 100 years, because this has been a bot lane that has completely thrived of forcing those fights, forcing those action, and being able to snowball off the back of that. If one member can stop what's happening, they're in trouble.
Yes, Instance with the Lantern going to play him back. Trump is going to try to kite. He's pretty healthy with that Lulu shield. Going to be the focus of Wolfie here. Ignite goes down again. Wolfie with the first one to fall. Glacial Orban coming in with the TP. He's going to land these auto attacks. Tail is level 6. Has the range autos. Panda on the Aphelios doing what he can with the sickle, with the chakrams. But here comes Sage. Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike goes in. Is in a 1v3. I don't know if he can make it out of that one. Pass to Safeguard to a minion. Glacial Orban has the move speed to chase. Decides not to commit with that. Ping's going down on the Dragon, and they're going to use their number advantage to take their objective.
Yeah, as well. Glacial Organ needs to be careful, because Saint can look for an assassinate. He can just jump around.
He does well the wall jump with the tempers, and the auto attacks goes through, but is he going to pay for it though? Gets hit by the Nunu snowballs. He's just trying to walk back and forth and dodge, but cannot find his way over the wall. That is another trade, but that looks like that was enough to deter the Kings from that Mountain Dragon.
Everything said and done there. I think Glacial Organ could have played that just a little bit more sooner for it, but
is it done though? Is it done? Death Sensor is gonna land. He doesn't have any backup. Snowball Bomb Fair gonna catch him out. The box tries to peel, and another kill going to Norca.
Yeah, 100 Years doing a fantastic job with these skirmishes, allowing them to find little options here, and it all comes down to that actual teleport used from Saint earlier, not hitting the mark. Again, he came in, ended up donating an extra kill in return of it, and ended up having Glacial Augment holding that teleport advantage for a key moment. Glacial Augment used it perfectly, was able to come in, get a kill, stop Panda ADC from amassing more CS off the back of it, and then at the same time set up for what could have been an extra Dragon control, set up for some extra kills on return for it as well, and this has actually given a little bit more life for their bot lane in 100 years.
Of course, like hitting that range spike, the dynamic, as you can see, they're starting to change a little bit in this mid lane, especially once she gets that wave down. Can take some pride. Has to be careful though. Saint does have a lot of damage, especially if you're all injured like this. Glacial going to get some retaliation trades back very nicely, but Saints not giving up this lane so easily. pushes mid. The Lantern goes in. Norca has the flash out of that one. Wild Growth is being used. Moonfall going to try and pull him back in. The chakrams from Aphelios going to go in and out. Not quite just enough. Oh, actually the mark cleans him up. And that is a cheeky little gank from the Panda Republic coming out with a kill in their bot lane.
Yeah, just managing to land that 200 years does and end up clutching out that kill there against Norca. And again, this is exactly what Panda Republic needs to do. The skirmishes have really been going the entire way of 100 years in most cases. This is the first time they were able to edge out a little bit of extra tempo against their team and actually need to shut down what might have been a possible snowball here for Norca and Bo3, as they were starting to get some kills really onto the Jinx. And now that means that Panda ADC is going to continue to push that CS lead, get some plates underneath as well. And that means if they do back away now, I really would like them to push this wave out, back up, consolidate their lead by purchasing and spending that gold over mass before these guys do get back, otherwise you miss out. But they're looking to force more fights to the Saints here.
Well, Death Sentence does miss, but I think they do want to commit, but they can't finally engage after that ability not landing of the mark. And like you said, they do want to take a reset here, but looks like they took a little bit too long to shove in that wave and stayed for that potential pick that they were looking for. It looks like they're going to be stuck in this bot lane for a little while longer.
Yeah, it's a bit of dangerous territory here because of course
this top lane, Panda set falling very low, but Panda jungle on this Diana is just going to keep chasing. Luna rushes have been used. Great name going to try and poke back. Crescent Strike going to have some return damage in itself as well. He's going to survive that one. Has to burn flash though, so that was not all for nothing.
Yeah, I do like what was actually used here by a great name as well, but Saints jumping on Augment.
Okay. He's going Glacial Augment, Sonic Web, and Dragon's Rage with the combo of the Resonating Strike, going to hit that execute damage. Meanwhile, back in this top lane, Moonfall going to be in a base breaker, going to pull him in, and that is more kills for the side of the Panda Republic, and they can start taking these solo lane leads to this mid game now.
Panda Republic absolutely exploding onto the map. They're finding bamboo left, right, and center and just feasting on it. Really, at this moment in time, Saints play against against Glacial Augment was perfect. Understood that, hey, you know, if I need to assassinate within a small period of time, otherwise, of course, that ultimate from K will come down, guarantee that vulnerability, and I'll lose my window to deal that damage. By doing it in between the Dragon's Kick and also throwing out the Sonic Wave afterwards, that meant there was no real reaction time available for Glacial Augment, and she went down in this case. Kale was unable to survive. At the same time, you do have Panda Jungler making a move on the top side, getting something back to Panda. And now, like you said, it seems to be not only just the bot lane ahead, but also the top and the mid lane. And they need it, because when it does get to the late game stages, I'm looking at 100 years. I'm looking at this Jinx. I'm looking at this Kale. They have some pretty mean firepower in their arsenal if it gets past that 35-minute mark, which means this league needs to be bigger for 100 years. 1.3k, actually 1.3k, it's only 300 gold, is not enough in this case, and I am beginning to feel a bit worried that they need to explode just a little bit more.
Yeah, they definitely have the tools to do so right now, especially that they have taken the Rift Herald. Looks like Panda on the Diana here, pathing towards the top side, so potentially cracking that side off the map. Could look for mid as well. Fear here, looking for a potential gank, a lane gank, just in case Saint gets a little bit overzealous. But so far, you know, especially on the bottom side of the map, the Panda Republic having nice and established control. They do have to watch out though, as Sphere is coming in on the side with the snowball. They are on their way out, but meanwhile, Saint back in this mid lane. Divine Judgment going to try and keep him alive. We go back to this bot lane. Lantern going to try and get this Aphelios out of here. Fear on this Nunu, not quite finding it. Death Sentence not quite finding the re-engage either. And Saint in this mid lane does use his flash, but gets Glacial Augment very low and does have a lot of pressure in this lane. Goes back in with that minion, gonna safeguard to that walk up, hits one too many tower shots. That's a kill to Glacial Augment. That's exactly what they need to help him scale up and catch back up in this game.
Oh, that was a mis-execution from Saint there, and Glacial Augment played it pretty damn perfectly. No hesitation with those turnaround moves to kite back and continue to use those auto attacks. If that wasn't done any better for Glacial Augment, it might have been a trade 1-for-1 kill. And of course, what would have made that worth here for Saint was the fact that he just pushed that minion wave into the turret, pushing that lead a little bit further ahead in that case. But this makes things so much worse now, because we do have Panda coming in.
Panda coming in the bot lane, gets hit by the traps. Moonfall going pulling back in, gets chain CC'd by the Death Sentence. Norca has Wild Growth on him. First target goes down is that Lulu. Aphelios here in the backline, and these free flamethrower shots Karma, a great name, trying to do what he can with the TP himself, but it's a little bit late and a little bit split up. Panda gonna take that tower shot, does go down. Great name picking up the kill there. But, you know, still, at the end of the day, Panda Republic still... Oh my god, they're not done landing that death sentence. Wolfie gonna reload to that tower shot, not gonna quite commit to that one. But they are running away with this bottom side of the map.
Really, when I look at what Panda Republic was able to do there, that's a 3,000 gold advantage that they've managed to amass out of the blue. Fortune favors the bold. They were the first ones to strike here with that little bit of an extra edge before 100 Years were able to get themselves into position. Panda Republic managed to make it a 1-for-4 trade, a member down. Look at this set. He's been up the top side the entire time, continuing to amass more CS and continuing to get this tower as well. There's going to be a lot of standing gold that's just going to be now released into circulation here for the Panda Republic. This is exactly what they needed to make sure that they can close this game out within that 25 to 30 minute mark, because again, we discussed it, they have that early game kick. Saints jumping in.
Saints jumping in, not quite finding the engage as the minion wave comes back up to block him. Glacial Augment, you know, starting to feel the pressure on this mid lane now. And Panda Republic, meanwhile, they're just taking whatever they can off these small leads, using that mid prior and, you know, the map advantage that they got from that previous fight, rotate these people to the mid lane, keep shoving in Glacial Augment, and then manages to take their second dragon off the game, off of that lane pressure.
Now what we're looking to see what they're going to do here is, again, at this point, all eyes are on 100 Years. 100 Years now need to stem the bleeding. Again, if they're able to survive for at least the next 15 minutes while not losing too much of a gold lead, they'll be able to bring this back. So it's really going to be on them to continue warding up and controlling their jungle points, because this is really going to be the entry, all points of entry here for the Panda Republic. They don't really have the best siege team. They may have an option to do so when Philios has that particular weapon item in place to make it work, but when that is down, won't be able to make it. But this is a good way to catch it, and he's going in.
With the flare, he's a bit outnumbered though. The box and the lantern tries to bring him back up. He's going to be focused down immediately. Flashes out. Panda ADC going to be polymorph, going to throw in the ultimate along with the Moonfall. Panda Diana finding her singled out target in the form. Great name with that. Inspire going to run just out of that one. No one falling prey just yet. Death Sentence looking for another one. Wolfie, very low HP. Sonic Wave does connect. Saint looking for a potential re-engage. But meanwhile, look at Panda on the set. Just constantly shoving in your wave. Nice little delay there to get even more map control.
And everything again comes down to the fact that the due diligence wasn't put in there by 100 Years. They needed to have control of their jungle. They realized they needed to do it, but Panda Republic was already inside of it in that bottom side, putting down wards, putting down control. That means Wolfie was able to find an engage onto Norca and go for it. The only difference there, or the only criticism I could have, was the whole team from Panda Republic wasn't on the same page yet. Wolfie had jumped in, but there wasn't any real support. And even though that Aftershock was able to actually show you as Guardian in this case, but even though Wolfie's relatively tanky and was able to buy some time for the rest of the team to get into it, it wasn't the best effect because you didn't have the Diana dive directly afterwards. You didn't have the Lee Sin jump in as well for the same either. That all came in roughly about 5 to 10 seconds afterwards. I would say 7 really seconds if you had to average it out. And that does mean that there was some time bought for 100 Years to reposition, get themselves into a better place. That could have turned out so much more worse for 100 Years and so much more better for the Panda Republic if the team was just ready to make this place engage at the same time. And Wolfie's going in again.
Speaking of engages, Lanterns in of the set here. Showstopper going back outside the turret. Wolfie trying to tank towers. The heal not quite going to be enough keeping it alive. Meanwhile, down onto this Wolf Camp. Panda on the Diana tries to take one out, and the flash from Saint is going to clean that one up. Absolute Zero going down in the top lane. Saint is not done. He makes his way up to top lane. Resonating Strike going to be able to clean another one. Saint, he's just going to go all over the place. Safeguard, Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, back on the next target in the form of Fear. Fear's going to try and throw out these snowballs and tries to kite. Another Sonic Wave going to be on a great name, looking for that dash right back in there. That is very deep between two towers here. Look at these three members and no minions. But holy cow, you can just see how comfortable they are just going in and making these plays and pushing their map control that they have.
Yeah, when I look at the way that they're playing here from the Panda Republic, there's so much communication in it. Wolfie seems to be going in just that little bit early, and that's like sort of represented the fact that Wolfie went down directly afterwards, but it is a team decision because there is so much movement directly afterwards, so much action that follows through, and they continue to amass out a lead. Yes, Glacial Augment does manage to pick up that bot lane. That really feels like a consolation prize at the moment. When a tower is going down, and then at the same time you're getting kills, you know who's edging out the advantage, and it's being illustrated in that quality. It's being illustrated in that Dragon lead as well. And things need to really fix up soon here, otherwise it will hit a break-even point when those third items are being completed here by the Panda Republic, and we've seen them execute so well, time and time again. I'm really worried here for 100 years. You can tell they're trying to put the wards in. Norca should not be the one leading that. I reckon Fear up front is going to be best. And now you can probably see there's going to be a lapse in that aggression from the Panda Republic because they have got objectives on the board. You can see the Dragons about to spawn in the next minute or so, or closing in towards 30 seconds. They've got the availability to move towards the Baron as well. Now it really is going to be up to 100 years to safely navigate these wards and these traps that are going to be put down by the Panda Republic to get to those objectives and actually contest it. If they're unable to do that, that's when they're going to actually be suffering down because eventually they'll just run away with the game. And Panda's going for it.
Oh, Rocket Bell onto Norca. Moonfall going to pull him back in. Tries for the Lantern for the extra shield. Norca, Wild Growth going to go on him. Manages to kite it out. Divine Judgment as well, just to help him live evil. However, that's no more for Glacial Augment. He's going to have to run out of that one. Fear going to try and peel from the backside. Okay, not on this Diana. Going very low, but does have the Jungle Fruit. So really dangerous for Norca. Trying to take that red buff. Panda, of course, on the Diana. Almost getting caught out himself. But backup does come eventually, and that gives them enough room to take their third dragon, and that's going to put them at Soul Point.
I really need to talk about 100 Years' ability to disengage from these fights whenever it happens. This is actually pretty damn good when you see how they execute the fact that, oh, I've been caught out, let's get out of here. No members going down here, and the engage from Panda Republic at the moment is just so damn dangerous. Of course, Norca had to use the heal. We'll have the flash now as the secondary backup there. And you really don't want to be using these summoners until there is a major engagement. When it's going to be at that Baron, when it's going to be at the Dragon. We're now at Dragon Point here for Panda Republic, and especially with it being an Oceania Soul, the ability to sustain and do well in these team fights will definitely assist their team because they're all about engaging, pushing back, re-accumulating this cooldown, and jumping back in. And if you have an Oceania Soul to back that up, that's going to make it so much more dangerous for these guerrilla tactics they've been implementing throughout the game.
Panda here looking for the Baron straight away. Not quite doing it quick enough, but it is going down. I do think the Kings do get a whiff of this. If not, they'll definitely know now. It tries to make sort of a counterplay across the map by trying to pick off Saint, but not, just did not commit to that one. And that essentially is a free Baron for Panda Republic.
And it's because of all the pressure they've been putting on. You can see that after those multiple team fights where they've been trying to push out into their jungles, it has completely been under control for Panda, and they're actually afraid to move out. That allowed them to take this Baron pretty damn easily. Also, what I really love about Saint being the split pusher here, and this is something that is really, re-risen back, putting Lee Sin back into lane, he's a slippery character. Even if someone does decide to jump onto him, he's got a multitude of ways to get away. If someone tries to cut him off behind, he can drag and kick that person, throw out a Q, move towards them, get a little bit of energy back, and then a horde wop afterwards as well to a ward if possible, or hop to a minion as well if that happens to be in place here. But it looks like there is a push coming from here, but
Ridgely Strike goes in with the walk up in the Dragon Sledge, gives Walker right back and see Wild Growth goes down. He's going to be focused down. First target down in the fight. The rest of Panda Republic going to look to give some more care. Another Resonating Strike coming in from Saint. Saint is looking for these picks. Honestly, Sin, Death Sentence just out of range. Is he going to go through with that one, Saint? Doesn't quite have the energy. They're going to easily be able to crack the mid side of the base of the Kings. First Nix's Toast actually being focused down with that one single siege minion with the Baron buff. Fair with that snowball, going to try and get him off of it. And Panda Republic opting to stay in, trying to get as much as they can on this run out of this Baron buff. This is just going wide. Karma definitely trying to wave clear. Fair with that snowball, getting chunked. First Nix's turret down, along with the inhib and the inhib turret as well. Bob looking for a chase, for a re-engage to punish a potential overextend. The route not quite going through there. And Norca, no, gets Death Sentence over the wall. Haymaker gonna go through. Divine Judgment onto Norca, so he does live. And Saint gonna go back in after that expires. picks up the kill, flashes out. He's taking a lot of damage on the way out though. And Glacial Augment easily cleaning that one up. Destiny is on another, on to great name this time. And holy crap, the move ball and the AoE comes and Showstopper as well. That is the Kings falling down in this fight. And second Nexus turret gonna go down. Nice little TP there by Panda set. Nexus being the next one to be focused by Pandas on the Aphelios as well. They grab some eventually. 1 HP. 1 HP.
Oops.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
and that is game number 1 to Canberra Panda Republic.
And what an explosive finish coming out there from the Panda Republic. And everything that I need to put into it is just decisive. No hesitation. Maybe the executions weren't as clean as they could have been, but they were decisive enough to the point that there was no real response coming from 100 years. And all of it does come back to Saint. Saint may have had a few questionable engages throughout the laning phase, but the moment everything ended and it was down to that team fighting, they had all the tools they needed to engage, fight out against 100 years and take them down. And I really love the way Saint just moved in, was happy to make those plays time and time after again to clean out those really effective plays. Looking at Norca being alive there would have made this push impossible for the rest of the team. They expired all of their re-engages from it, and Saint is able to make it work. Yes, he sacrifices his life in return, but that does mean that the response or the follow-up as a consequence for the Panda Republic allowed them to completely implode 100 years, because that was a huge AoE engage coming across from the set, coming across from Diana, and of course from Panda as well, coming across from the Aphelios. The amount of sheer AoE that came out when they were able to re-engage sealed the deal, and this means that 100 years really has their work cut out for them going into the next match, because Panda Republic, I feel they have a pretty damn deep champion pool. And when you looked at the engage from Wolfie, it felt like he was playing with his team the entire time.
Right.
It feels like there was no substitute here. He slotted in pretty damn well. And I only think that's going to improve for Panda Republic as the games go on, or as the series continues. So really looking at 100 years to bring up that level of gameplay to match what Panda Republic is bringing today.
Yeah, Panda Republic definitely a strong showing. You know, Wolfie, of course, with the lens, and like you said before, it's a team decision, and clearly, you can just see the way that Wolfie was going and the way that his teammates were positioned, except for maybe that little delayed engage onto that red buff. But everything else, you see, it was very decisive. He lands a hook. You know, from a spectator perspective, you know, you weren't sure if he was going in, but then he throws out the lantern, and then whoever needs to take it is instantly takes it along with Wolfie as well. The coordination is there, the timing is there, and then they're able to just execute right on that through to the end. I mean, just so as soon as they took map control, how decisive they were into making these engages happen. And we are going to go into a short break as we round up the first game of the series. And when we come back, we're going to see if Panda Republic can close this one out, or will the Kings bring it back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.